This is video update number 4 of the Stretchla Project, my ongoing quest to enable supercharged camping by combining a Tesla Model S with a Volkswagen camper, a stretched one. In this episode,
in 1 mile, turn right onto Llewellyn Road.
In this episode, we'll be talking about what it took to get the donor car running and what's still left to be done to get all the systems operating properly. So as you can see, the good old crashed Tesla, I'm now calling it the Recla. I've got it collected a bunch of parts, got it running, and it's not 100%. It's missing a number of
2 miles, turn right onto Llewellyn Road.
It's missing a number of safety features, and we gotta make our turn.
Now turn
here.
right onto Llewellyn Road.
Minor things like airbags and maybe the front fender that's missing, you know,
Please
details
follow
like
the road
that.
for 3 miles.
So it's been a bit of a process to get it going. Mostly, if you've been watching in the past, I've been collecting parts. That all kind of came together a couple weeks ago. My friend John Whalen brought down the last batch of parts we had ordered from Tesla. Got the new strut and the suspension arms, things like that. And basically it was a matter of mechanicking to put the whole thing together. While I was waiting for parts, I decided to make the rear taillight face a little more in the direction it's supposed to. Since this one's never going to be made pretty, I was able to just go at it kind of coarse with a floor jack and some 2x4s and just push it out into place. The taillight fits pretty well now. I'll probably do a little more to try to get the charge port to fit before I take it out for testing the supercharger. So once the parts arrived, I started putting it all together. There was one bolt that was rather hard to get to, and since I didn't have a replacement, I decided not to cut it, and instead I dropped out the battery pack again, just a few inches to access the bolt and put it back in. And that was a good opportunity because last time I just put it in temporarily and not putting in nearly enough of the bolts that were needed to hold it in place and so on for actual driving. So now it was reinstalled, all set for driving. Put the front suspension together, spent some time trying to get the air suspension to level it at the right height. I had replaced one of the air suspension height sensors, and normally that requires that you calibrate the ride height using a special tool that, you know, my friend has this wonderful $8,000 tool that'll do every BMW, Audi, and, you know, Chrysler product out there. But unfortunately, Tesla hasn't released the data yet so that these tool manufacturers can allow it to connect to a Tesla. So not having a way to connect not having a way to adjust the air suspension directly, I decided to do what I usually do, which is sort of a hacking technique, and to figure out what I could do with what the tools I did have. So I went into the CAN bus and discovered which codes were used for the air suspension system, at least a couple of them, and then read out the ride height codes. And then I just tweaked that new front sensor. I moved its mount a little bit until the ride height was level and proper in the front. So having done that, I did a basic alignment, just camber and I'm sorry, not camber. Yeah, camber and toe-in, but not the caster. Which I can feel now if I let go of the wheel, the car sort of pulls to the right. But minor things, considering I won't really be driving it. I might tweak up the caster a bit because I will be using this suspension on the VW, and I want to make sure everything does line up. So what else? Then there was assembling it, putting on the hub and the brakes and all that stuff, bleeding the brakes, just basic mechanicking kind of stuff. So once it was all together, we tried it out, and here's a little clip. All right, exciting times here. We are ready to take the Tesla, that is the donor parts vehicle, for its first test drive. As you can see, we have a most elegant solution here of a Vanagon turn signal and a Vanagon headlight. So this is just to show you, get the Tesla used to having Vanagon parts attached to it. And they were lying around. All right, let's see if this thing rolls. And there it is. It's rolling. Now time for a test drive. Well, that's it. Feels like a car. Time to take it to the DMV and get some registration on it. So it runs pretty well. I don't drive it in the rain because many of the covers are missing, and it's obviously missing the front fender on the left side. Had a good time getting it used to these Vanagon parts. The headlight assembly and the turn signal assembly are out of an old Vanagon. You know, in proper Oregonian backwoods fashion, I mounted them on a 2x6, which is C-clamp to the old bumper. It's all very temporary because, of course, it's all going, just testing the functionality, and it's all going to get taken apart and put into the van again. Other than that, while time goes on, we keep getting more parts available. Murphy's Law, of course, a month after I bought the rather expensive air strut for the left front corner, a set of 4 air struts came up used online from a wrecked Model S. And so I bought those, for all 4 of them, for less than the price that I paid for one brand new air strut on the front. It gives me a bit of a peace of mind, though, knowing that I have an extra set of air struts, because on the Stretchla Project, when it's under the Vanagon, the expected weight is going to be about 20% higher than it was rated for in the Tesla. So I'm a bit concerned I might blow out an air strut. I really won't know I've overloaded it too much until that happens. So it's a nice feeling to know that I have an extra set waiting in the wings. Just in case I do blow one up, then I can replace it and do some other mitigation measures to make sure it doesn't happen again. If I'm really lucky, then Murphy's Law says that since I have a set lying around, with any luck, they won't blow. So that's a neat thing. What else is there to do? The louvers, never really finished the spoofing of them. That's still a possibility. I might work on that. In the meantime, I found another front louver for 50 bucks, so I thought, yeah, we'll get that. So I'm slowly collecting them, the original equipment ones, and maybe I'll end up using those in the end. Who knows? You know, it's just we'll see what happens first. But Deb and I certainly had a good time developing that, learning about the LIN bus and all that I covered in the last episode. So like I said, I probably still want to do a little more alignment, work on the caster, figure out how to set the caster using my simple tools that I have in the shop. I'm used to doing camber and toe in, but caster gets a little more tricky. You got to measure a few angles, steering, and how much it tilts and so on. We'll figure it out. The air conditioning system is not yet running, so that's still a major step I want to get tested and working before I put any significant loads on the vehicle systems, you know, before I do any real hill climbing or anything that would heat up the batteries, like supercharging. So my intention is still to get the air conditioning system working, and then test the supercharger, and then I think we're pretty ready. Maybe take it to the Tesla dealer to get the air suspension code cleared. It still tells me that that it's logged a code with a little symbol on the dash. And then I think it'll be getting pretty ready to start tearing it apart and putting the parts under the stretch. So that's it for this update, and catch y'all next time.